Hi everyone, this is Paul and you are watching billyseducatella. This is my new lecture on the topic of Introduction to Java. In this lecture, I would like to cover the content of Java followed by programming. So you could learn the programming very easily by following the lecture. So before going to the topic, please subscribe my channel and like the video for my encouragement, and comment below if you have any doubts regarding the topic. So in this first lecture, let us discuss the introduction on OOPS. So what is an OOPS? So there are two main approaches to software analysis and design, namely as FOP, function oriented approach, that is function oriented programming, and object oriented programming. So let us explain each of them clearly. First of all, let us discuss the function oriented approach. So this system is comprised of smaller subsystems known as functions. So if you have a program, so this program is comprised of some subsystems known as functions. So it has some functions. These functions are capable of performing significant tasks in the system. So these functions will perform the task given by the user or the programmer. Okay. Next, divide and conquer methodology is used in this function oriented approach, and some of the function oriented approach programming are Kotlin. Python supports the both function oriented and object oriented programming, and Haskell, which is only depend on function oriented programming. This is purely a function oriented programming. Next, the function oriented programming is used only when there are few things with more operations. So if you have only few things, so here we have only three things, but these three things can perform a number of operations. So the main use of function oriented approach is to perform various operations in a few things, that means few functions only. Now let us discuss the example. Here we have a function to add x and y. So after adding x and y, we will return it to the main system or main program. So this is the function that or subsystem. So this subsystem will be written back to the main system. So the output will be written to the main system. Here in the main system, the output will be printed. So now let us discuss the object oriented approach. Before going to object oriented approach, let us discuss what is an object. An object comprises of a method and a property. So an object is nothing but the combination of method and the property is defined as an object. So a method is nothing but a function and a property is nothing but a variable. So this function and the variables are combined to form an object. So let us discuss one example. If we consider a bike has some name. So let us consider it is an Harley Davidson, and it has some color and it has some model. So and it performs some functions. So it can start and it will be stop and we can ride it. So these are some functions and these are the properties. So these both will be combined to form the object. I think so you understood it. Now let us discuss what is an object-oriented approach. This programming concept works on the principles of abstraction, encapsulation, inheritance, and polymorphism. In my upcoming lectures, I will discuss what is an abstraction, encapsulation, inheritance, and polymorphism very clearly. So coming to the next point, it allows user to create the objects that they want and then create methods to handle those objects. So by using this object oriented approach, the user can able to create the objects. When the user create an object, he must have to create the method. So to hold these objects, the methods will be created. The basic concept of OOPS is to create objects, reuse them throughout the program and manipulate these objects to get the results. So the main basic concept of the OOPS is to create the objects. In place of functions, we are creating objects. So what is the main use of object? By combining function and the variables. But in function oriented approach, we will use only the functions, but in OOPS we are using both the functions and the variables in a single term named as an object. So we will reuse them throughout the program. So these objects can be reused throughout the program and manipulate. So by using these objects, we can manipulate the given program, these objects, to get the result. So some of the examples of object oriented programming are C++, Java and Kotlin. So Kotlin is also a function oriented approach where both function oriented and object oriented are used. So coming to the next slide, what are the benefits of OOPS? So first benefit is code reusability. So new objects can be derived from the old objects. If you are creating a new object, we can use the old objects in place of the new objects. So we can reuse in place of creating the new objects. This is used to develop many class libraries using class codes that have already been written. For example, Microsoft Foundation classes. So this Microsoft Foundation classes is developed by using C++. So the Microsoft will make changes by using the code reusability, which is based on object oriented programming. So the main use of OOPS is code reusability. So here, if you have one system, if you have another system, you can use the content of this system into this system by using code reusability of OOPS. And the next benefit is code modularity. Everything in OOPS is an object. So these objects can be interchanged or removed to meet the user needs. So the OOPS provides the modularity to interchange or remove the objects based on the user needs. So if you want to remove or interchange the content of the objects, OOPS will provide the modularity. So by using modularity, you can change the content or remove the content of a given program. And the next use is OOPS has easier maintenance. So inheritance is usually reduces the maintenance because of the domino effect it has on the derived classes. So inheritance is made by using the domino effect on the derived classes when a change is made in the base class. If you have any change in the base class, so the derived class will also be changed. So it will be maintained easily. So based on the inheritance, due to inheritance, the base class and the derived classes will be changed by using the inheritance. So it is easier, it has the easier maintenance. And the next use is design stability. Once a stable base class has been developed, the new classes that are derived may have fewer less errors and the bugs. So if you have one stable base class and if you create a new classes that are derived may have only few errors. So if you are deriving the content from the base class, So we will get only a few errors because we are deriving the content from the base class to the new classes. So it has a stability in the content. Okay, I think so it has a good design stability. And the next use is improved communication between the developers and the users. It is the main important task that the developers has to be done. So it has an improved communication between the developers and the users. Objects can be broken down into the real life entities, hence it is easier it communicate ideas. So OOPS provides a better communication between the developers and the users because an object can be broken down into a real-time entities. That means real-life examples. So the user could understood the real-life entities very easily. So this is the end of the lecture. I think so you understood the content that I have been explained to you. If you have any doubts, comment below and share my channel to your friends and subscribe it and like the video. Thank you everyone.